This is the book Fade. This is also available in the Cameron High School Library. This book contains the grooming of a senior by a teacher, and it goes into a fair bit of detail. This book also contains sexual nudity, sexual activity including rape, profanity, and illegal drug use. This book is only rated as a 3 out of 5 by Book Looks. Let's get into the grooming. Mr. Durbin pats her on the shoulder. "Nicely done, Janie," she grins. Takes off her safety glasses, and his hand is still on her shoulder, caressing it now. Janie's stomach churns. Oh God, she thinks. She wants to get away. He's smiling proudly at her. His hand slides down her back just a little, so lightly she can hardly feel it, and then to the small of her back. She's uncomfortable. "Happy birthday, Janie," he says in a low voice. He really is a terrific teacher. And then he's next to her at her table, checking out her work. "Looking good, Hannigan," he says quietly. But he's not looking at her formula, bubbling merrily over the burner. He's looking down her shirt as she's leaning over. "Awesome. This is going to be a blast. You're such a cool teacher. You're just like one of us, you know." Mr. Durbin grins. "I try. It's only been 8 years since I was a senior in school. I'm not some old geezer, you know." He's languid, leaning against the side of his desk, arms crossed in front of him. And then he's reaching at his hand. "Hold still," he says. "You've got an eyelash." He brushes lightly across Janie's cheek with his thumb, and his fingers linger at her hairline just a second longer than necessary. Janie lowers her eyes demurely, and then looks back up into his. "Thanks," she says softly. He gives her a smoldering look that is unmistakable. "Now give it a try," he says, looking at her. He takes the paper and slips it under her notebook, brushing her breast with his forearm. Both pretend not to notice. Janie pulls out a fresh piece of paper and begins from the initial equation. She leans over the paper so her hair falls in front of her shoulder and scribbles away. After a moment, he draws her hair back over her shoulder, his fingers lingering an extra moment on her neck. "I can't see," he explains. "We both know, don't we," he says, "why you wanted to come here this evening." Janie gulps. "We do?" "Yes, and don't feel bad about it, because I'm attracted to you too." Janie blinks and blushes. "But," he continues, "I can't have a relationship with you while you're my student. It's not right, even though you're 18. Janie is silent, looking at the floor. He tips her chin up. His fingers linger on her face. "But once you graduate," he says with a look in his eye, "well, that's a different story." Janie mingles her way to the bathroom with her untouched punch and stands in line. By the time she gets in there, she hears the clumping of a dozen feet coming up the stairs. Mr. Durbin, the teacher, explaining boisterously that somebody's got to be the one to start eating because the girls aren't doing it. She locks herself in the bathroom and does the drink test again. Spreads the drops of punch on the paper. Waits 30 seconds. Watches it change to bright blue. Her stomach lurches. Roofies. Stumbling, Janie bumps against the door trying to push it and finally tries pulling it. It opens, and Mr. Durbin is on the bed. There are 3 girls from class with him, and he's taking their clothes off as they lie there. "Oh, cool. Do you have that porn magazine in there?" Janie hesitates too late, wondering if she was supposed to say that, but she can't remember why she shouldn't. "Lots of them," he says. "Not that I need them with you here." Huh. She follows him through the dazed and half-naked crowd. He stops to grab another glass of punch and gives her another one too. On the way to Mr. Durbin's bedroom, Janie waves to Coach Crater. "Hey," she says, turning back to Mr. Durbin. "Wasn't Stacy here before?" "She's still here, Janie." His words are deliberate, like he's concentrating. "She's fucking Chris in the other bedroom, so we can fuck in here." Janie reels back against the deck handrail, stumbling, grabs Coach's arm off her breast. She lights the joint and inhales the smoke, holds it in, lets it out slowly. Mr. Wing falls to the deck next to her and starts kissing her cleavage. She doesn't like that, she decides. He's in her way. She's trying to smoke a joint here. She makes a peace sign with her fingers, marveling over them. Then, when Mr. Wing grabs her nipple in his mouth, she stabs him in the eyeballs. She learned that somewhere. He catches her on the jaw. Her head flies back and hits the deck's rail, and she blacks out. The joint burns down between her fingers. Janie remains quiet for a long time. Finally, she says, "This is weird, but I know Coach Crater raped Stacy. Not this time, last semester." 21 positives on the GHB, Janie. Cable's voice is harsh. Everyone at the party was drugged. Durbin even drugged himself. Rumor has it the drug is known to enhance stamina. He pauses. You. They both shudder. When Baker and Cobb and the backup crew arrived, Durbin had 3 female students in his bed with him. Janie is quiet. He's going to jail for a long time, Janie. What about Wang? Him too. Sadly, he raped Stacy before Baker and Cobb got there. They found his DNA. She asked for the morning after pill. She doesn't remember anything that happened last night. Cable's hand gripped the steering wheel. His knuckles are white. Janie's quiet. Fuck, she says. Still no memory of any of it, huh? Yeah, that's the way it is with those date rape drugs. That's also why so many rapes go unnoticed or unreported. The memory loss allows sickos like Durbin and his ilk to get away with that shit time after time. You really saved the day, Janie. Sidebar here, folks. If a high school boy reads this book, what is he going to learn? He just learned that with a date rape drug, the girl's not going to remember the next day. She won't be able to turn him in for raping her. This is the book the Cameron High School is providing to children. Missouri is rated the #1 state out of all 50 states for sexual assault on high school kids.